Hey guys, this is Chantel from Peaceful Living NH Nursery. Today I thought I would take you with me on kind of a day in the life in the nursery. So I've been here most of the day working on the nursery. It's just kind of work that has to be done to keep the plants looking healthy. So one of those jobs is separating the plants, and I'll show you an example of that. So here's a great example of what I'm talking about. This is a pink Veronica variety, and you can see there's a good space between the plants, and this is going to allow the plants to grow really wide and healthy and not get entangled with each other, because what happens when they are too close, I have examples of that, is you end up with plants looking like this because they're not receiving any sunlight. So today I spent a good amount of time doing this, and I still have a good portion to separate on that end over here and a little bit over there as well. This is what I want to prevent from happening, which is the suffocation of some plants. And I want the plants to kind of grow healthy and look their best for when you guys come and get them. Something that's not necessarily my favorite, but I still sort of enjoy doing it, is deadheading. One of the reasons why I do that is because I want to encourage the plants to rebloom again. And another reason is because I want the plants to look good for you when you purchase them, or when you come over here to the nursery to look at the plants and decide what you want to get. And another reason is some of these plants do reseed themselves quite a bit. Like for example, these alliums over here. These are the pink nodding onions. Most alliums are heavy reseeders, and I don't want them to reseed themselves in all of the nursery pots over here. So I just have to be diligent at keeping them cut back so that they don't propagate themselves in here. But I do still want to show some of the colors because I'm not 100% positive that these will rebloom. Most alliums do not rebloom. So I'm just going to cut them back and leave a little bit of the blooms on the ones that are not fully mature yet, with developed seed heads on them, so that people could still see the color on these alliums. And I'm also just making sure to separate them, of course, as I go, but I just still haven't figured out where I'm going to be putting these alliums. Another thing I did today is I loaded all of this table over here, making sure, of course, to keep the plants separate enough so that they have enough space to grow. But I do love for these tables over here to kind of be full because it's nice. They're easy to see, easy to grab, and I can't put things that are super tall in here because they will definitely topple over, and especially if we get a lot of wind. And anything that I put over here has to be something that is able to handle the sun, because this does get a lot of afternoon sun over here. And of course, on the other side over there, I have a ton of my plants that I didn't get to plant in the garden. So all of these have to be I just have to toss them, except for certain things that I'm still going to plant. So I am separating. If I see a plant that I like, I'm just separating it and putting it over there. This is also the area over here where I do put my, there we go. So in this area right here, this is where I put my online orders. So whenever I receive an online order with local pickup, or even just an online order for shipping, this is where I place it, and I put name tags on it with the order number. This is where they go. I still have yet to make a label for this section over here, because sometimes people, when they come, they try to grab plants from here until they notice that there's a name on them, or if I tell them that, hey, this plant is for someone else. So I still have to make this kind of noticeable in some way. Maybe I'll also wrap a tape around it that says sold or something of the sort. I just need to make it more noticeable for people that this section over here is already sold. And I think it's in the right place. I don't know if I'm going to move it over that way. I think I'm going to leave this here. I don't want to push it too close to the fence for two reasons. One, I want to the sprinklers on this side are able to reach it better, and I don't want it to be too close to the edge because we do end up with weeds on the side, and I do have to spray sometimes, unfortunately. You know, it is the name of the game, because we don't want any weeds in the pots, so I have to make sure there are no weeds anywhere around. One of the things that I'm doing as well right now is weeding. Now, I don't get a ton of weeds in here. Last season I got a ton of weeds in my pots because I had them out there in the gravel area, and we end up with lots of weeds growing in the gravel and around. So I had to do a ton of weeding last year, but this year, because everything is over here in the matted area, there's no soil around and no weeds except for whatever flies from the wind, there's a lot less weed pressure and a lot less weeding on my part, and I really like that because weeding takes a long time. There are methods that I could implement to reduce the amount of weeding, but I'm not sure that I want to do that yet because that also adds expense, and I'm trying to keep my costs as low as possible. Now, I may have spoken too soon about the groundhog and said that he's not able to come into the nursery because I don't know if you guys can see it, he created a gigantic hole in here and another little hole inside the greenhouse area, and he's been coming in, and he did a number on my delphiniums and on my liatris over here, and he went to town on the echinaceas. And I did end up losing a few plants because of that. He also was toppling over some of my plants, so they weren't every day. I had to come here and pick them up, and sometimes I don't see them, and so they were ending up smothered, but they're still alive. On a positive note, the foxgloves are doing amazing. Look at all of these leaves, and these have multiple plants in each of these pots, and you may be lucky and they might bloom for you this season, like this one right here. This is about to put a bloom, and these are multiple plants, so each plant might have a different color. I don't know. This is a mix, and hopefully you'll get the colors that you are looking for. They're all cool colors and they're beautiful. And here, I'll just give you a little tour of what's happening here. We have some Monarda or bee balm right here that's doing amazing. This is the Agastache Rose Mint, one of my favorite perennials. It's just gorgeous. I love it, and it smells amazing. And then we have some Monarda left, and of course this amazing Anise hyssop. Amazing fragrance. It stands tall. It can grow up to 4 feet tall, and about 2 feet wide, and it's just an amazing plant. I believe it's hardy down to zone 4, and it's really nice, you know, for color, texture, structure, and of course the pollinators absolutely adore it. And then on this side over here we have some ground covers. This is the chamomile. This is Roman chamomile. So this is a perennial chamomile that comes back every year. It's an amazing ground cover. It grows about 10 inches tall, and it's going to bloom for you. My tripod just died, but I can hold the phone. That's okay. So this one, you can use it in teas, and if you cut it back, it's going to rebloom again. So one of the things that I do if I see something that's not growing well is I shear it back just to make sure that it's going to flush fully and kind of grow evenly and look nice for you guys. So this is what I had to do with the chamomile. They were kind of all growing together, so the bloom season was kind of a little bit delayed on these. They were about to bloom, and then I had to cut them back. Oh, I totally forgot. If we look this way, we have some irises. These are Siberian irises, and these will bloom early spring. I love these irises because they have this beautiful purple color, and if you would like them to, they can reseed themselves if you just let the bloom heads kind of dry out, and then you can take them and shake them wherever you want. And on this side we have some yucca over there, which is Adam's needle is the common name. There's also obedient plant, some Siberian yarrow, golden Parker yarrow. Let me take you a little bit closer so you guys can see the blooms on these. I have, I think, 3 left of this one. This is the Siberian yarrow or love parade yarrow. There's also some lavender here, catmint. Oh, this is the golden Parker yarrow, bee balm, of course, the pink nodding onions, and I have one Coreopsis americana. Some yellow echinacea. The ones over there are the white swan, and these are coral bells. The what's the name of this one? Firefly. So this is going to have coral color blooms, and the blooms on this one stay for so long. Even when it's done blooming, it looks like it's still in bloom. And these can take both sun and shade. They're great for dry shade as well. They do really well in that, and they're just an amazing plant. I love them, and they're super hardy in our area. We are zone 5B, 6A, and these just do really well in our area. And I think they are hardy down to zone 4 or zone 3. I'm not exactly sure. And then on this side over here, these still have to be separated. This is some, let me remember the name, purple love grass. And you can see right here, it's starting to put out its plumes. So these in the fall, they're going to open and look more purple. Right now, you can see the seed heads are just starting to form. So once these mature, it's going to look kind of like a full purple cloud. And this is a native grass as well. And we have a little bit of helenium left. And this has been in bloom for a really long time. If you've been following along, you would have seen the time when this started blooming. I don't remember, but it's constantly putting on blooms. And if you continue to deadhead it, that's what it's going to do. It's going to bloom and bloom and bloom all the way through the fall, and it's an amazing plant. And right here, this is Linaria, or I don't know the common name for this plant. But it's supposed to be a really nice plant as a cut flower, but they took forever to grow. I'm assuming they're going to put on their blooms in the fall. I originally planted these for myself to use them as cut flowers, but I haven't had the time to plant them, so you guys are free to take them. I will put them on the website shortly. Here's a quick view of what everything is looking like so far, and this side still has to be cleaned up, so maybe tomorrow I'll tackle that side. So I'll tell you the honest truth is I don't want to be here. It's hot, it's humid, really humid. My skin is burning, but I have to do this. I should have came here earlier, but I was doing computer work, and that could not wait, so I had to do that first. So now I'm stuck here doing this work, which I do love, right now in the hot, humid weather. The smart thing would have been to do this earlier, but that's okay. I should have scheduled my work a little bit differently, but I think some things have to be done, you know, before others. So that's what happened. Oh, I forgot to tell you about this plant, which let me see if I can find one in bloom. All the blooms that I see are kind of faded, and this one, the bloom has fallen, but you could see the petals, and this one is almost out. This is the Sunny Reggae Dahlia. So this is an annual, but you can easily dig this up and store the tuber in the fall. Once it's completely, once the frost kills it to the ground, you dig up the tuber, and then you can store it in vermiculite or sand. Some people also use wood shavings like the ones that you would use for animals. They just moisten them a tiny bit, just enough to keep the tubers moist. And then some people also use saran wrap, like plastic wrap, to wrap the tubers in, and they put them in a box or a crate, and they store them that way. You want to store them in kind of a semi coolish place. You don't want it to be frozen, so don't store them in your garage, but a basement would be a great place to store your dahlia tubers in, because basements over here tend to stay kind of on the cooler side. Our basement stays between 50 to 60. Oh, the bee is after me. I'm gonna put this down. Our basement stays between 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh my goodness, I think that's a okay, it's chasing me. Okay, I left it alone. There, it wasn't happy with me. Between 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's perfect temperature to store your dahlia tubers at. And I forgot to mention, I still have some astilbes as well, the black pearl astilbe. I had to cut those back because we went on vacation and they all dried out. And the foliage looked terrible. So now the foliage is looking amazing. And here you can see them. There's also some phlox that currently suffering transplant shock, but the roots are super healthy, and that's what really matters. So if you purchase something and the top doesn't look great, like let's say you take Aleatris, the groundhog kind of mowed down almost to the ground, that plant is still alive and is still super healthy because the root is what matters the most. In its first season, it's not really going to do that much for you anyways. So what you want is, you want the plant to focus on its root growth, and that's what matters the most. So if you do purchase these, be sure that these will do really well. In fact, they might even do better than some of the plants that I didn't cut back. If I had enough time, I would have given a good cutback for a good portion of the plants, because that is what is going to encourage a lot of branching and root growth on the plants. So on another note, now is a great time to plant your perennials, your shrubs, your trees, especially that we are starting to cool down in the evening. Now this week looks like it's going to be hot as well, but that's okay. If you keep the plants watered, the plants are going to do really well. I plant almost every day at this time, and the plants are just loving it. As long as you keep them well watered until they are established, they're going to love it, especially that our nights are cooling down. So the fall, before about 4 to 6 weeks before our hard frost, is when you can continue to plant. Once we hit the 4 weeks before the hard frost, you gotta stop planting, because it's a little bit risky at that time to put your plants in the ground. So our first soft frost is usually around October. Sometimes it comes around October 17. Excuse me, it's so hot and humid. So you want to plant. You can continue planting even during our first frost, because that's not what matters. It's the hard frost. So you have 2 different types of frost. You have the, I forgot what it's called. I think it's called tender frost. I don't know. I'll put the name on the screen. But there are 2 different types of frost, basically. One of them is 32 to 28 degrees, and then any frost below 28 degrees Fahrenheit is called a hard frost. And that hard frost is what goes down into the ground, and that's what can damage the roots if they are dry. So if you did plant in the period of the hard frost, a little bit close to it, like let's say it was a little bit less than 4 weeks, what you want to do is you want to make sure that those roots stay moist. If they do stay moist, not boggy, not like sitting in mush, you just want them to stay moist. If they do stay moist, then they have a higher likelihood of survival. But if they do dry out, then that hard frost, if they are not established, will have an easier time at killing those plants. That's the trick. This is so it gets a little bit harder to keep your plants happy and alive after the period of hard frost, and this is why we encourage planting before that. So now is the time to get your plants and get them in the ground. We will be open this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11, no, excuse me, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can visit us then, or you can make an appointment. You can also place your order online and schedule a pickup if you want to secure some plants. Not all the plants are listed online. I still have to work on a few of them, but most of them are. And we also ship. So if you are far away from us, you can place your order and we will ship your order directly to your door. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.